Curling now enters the Sports Weekend spotlight.
I don't know about you, Paul, but that gave me goosebumps. In curling, sometimes you're on the wrong side of the inch. Last night for Canada, they were on the wrong side of the millimeter. Good morning to you. You were there. You talked to the team. What was that like?
Well, it was pretty heart-wrenching, gutted. I mean, they were devastated. You name, pick an adjective, and they were all of that. Right. Because honestly, it was an Olympics that slipped away because they could have, first off, had a stronger game against Australia. Their slow start against Great Britain, where they were finding their communication, and then, against Italy, to have that shot in the eighth end. People are making a lot of talk about the 1 millimeter difference in that measurement, but in the eighth end, you lob a shot in there anywhere, when Stefania came deep or Amos came deep, and then Rachel had the freeze attempt and it came up light. So to me, it was the tail of the eighth end, and then of course the drama of the extra end, double heartbreak really there, because they probably would have thought after Johnny's incredible shot in the triple, eighth end, the triple, that they had the game won. It looked like that's going to be a tough, game for Italy.
Did you like that call? Because so many people have been pointing out that Rachel is a hitter, and I think she probably could have played the run back, or could you have played a hack waiter call?
She couldn't see enough, so I think the freeze was the shot. Or it's an either or. It's skipper's preference. Right. And people talk about Rachel's a hitter. Rachel's a great player on any shot, so she can make any shot. But it's what she chose to play, and she is that kind of a skip that once she commits, she commits, and that's the shot. In every curling scenario, there are always two schools of thought that you could play, 2 shots, 3 shots sometimes. She chose the shot. That wasn't made. The run back was there too. But, run backs, I would say it was a short run back, so that was probably a gimme as well. But both were makeable shots. Right. So it was a tough loss for Canada. But there were a couple of others that games that they wish they could have had back.
And isn't that the game of curling? Hello, curling fans, wherever you're tuning into tonight. We should also mention congratulations to Norway and Italy. Now going to gold. Who saw that coming?
They did. That's who.
Wow.
That's who saw it coming. And speaking to Kristen and Magnus from Norway in the mixed zone after, they said they started preparing for this 4 years ago. Wow. And is that not a message for Curling Canada to at least put the trials on in the spring so that your Olympic rep can get over to Europe and play in the massive European mixed doubles events, so that when you go to step on the ice against Italy and you're asked the question, what do you know about Italy? You answer more than just, I know the guy's tall. I mean, we'll look back at the preparation. Yeah. We'll look back at the preparation that Johnny and Rachel had in 4 more years, and we'll laugh about it. We'll go, can you imagine? We expected, although they are the greatest, it's a great team. They are great players. Their resume is so good. But we expected them to show up here and be prepared with no Olympic trials, with a training camp in Canmore, but not coming and playing these teams that were here on a regular basis. It's just not going to work. You're going to look back and we'll say, greatest team in Canada, woefully unprepared.
Wow.
Because they didn't get to compete against these teams. And there's a lot of events. So they got to move the trials. And one more note, the fact that there's no Canadian mixed doubles this year, that has been canceled. An Olympic event, it's not an Olympic event, but it preps teams for competition. And that's canceled when they're having the Scotties and the Brier. that's got people in an uproar. That's the lip service they're paying to mixed doubles. It's perceived as lip service to mixed doubles, which is an Olympic sport. So it's time that Canada woke up, smell of coffee. Speaking of that, where is
I was just going to say.
I'm not fired up. I better have another coffee.
Well, I was just gonna say, you're giving us some truth serum this morning because I know how much you care about this. Fans, let us know. Send us your comments about what you think about this. But I know you care deeply about this.
I do. And, just speaking also to other countries here who recognize that Canada just kind of walks in with a great team and expects to win.
Yeah.
Without doing the other work that all of these other teams have been doing. So wow. Italy's not surprised they're in the final. They have worked hard for this moment. Norway's not surprised they're in the final. They've worked for the last 4 years. And let's not forget their incredible story. This husband and wife team lost, and then they got to come back because they had played ROC. They were found guilty of doping in those last games, positive drug test.
Right.
They brought Norway back and gave them the honor of getting that bronze medal at the Olympics rather than having it be mailed to them express post. So anyhow, it's a nice story.
Well, good morning to you, Colleen. You've got everybody fired up. Let's get into it. Let's continue the conversation. What a great job last night. Joanne, Courtney, Mike Harris, and Bruce Rainey did, guiding us through yet another dramatic game. And they join us once again here tonight. Good evening to all of you, Joanne. You staying awake? The bold and the beautiful.
What is going on there?
What is Joanne wearing? I got to get a little closer to that. I love it.
I had a rough day, you guys.
Okay, I love that.
I woke up at noon, so I thought, okay, I'll pop some melatonin and we'll just go straight back to bed. No problem. We don't go back on until 1 a.m, and I could not fall back asleep. So, not these eye masks that have coffee in them or something, and I got to get it from every angle at this point, I think.
Yeah, I used to do hits with Jeff Merrick, and he used to call them his Louis Vuitton bags. So that's what you want to protect your girlfriend against those.
My consumer review is not good. These do not stay on if I move my face. So.
I love it.
Wow.
Okay, that made me laugh. Good morning. Behind the scenes with Joanne Courtney. Oh, Bruce, what are you thinking this morning, bright and early?
Well, Colleen, I wanted to ask you a question. So last night when Homan settled into the hack for her final shot, I was absolutely enraptured by the silence. I've never heard a curling rink or an arena that quiet. And I will never forget, as long as I live, the sound John Morris made from the very depths of his gut when that rock struck. And he knew. He didn't need the measurement. He's curled 10,000 stones in his life. He knew. But I'll just never forget that sound. It was that wail. It was an absolute guttural wail from him. It was. And, you said a lot of great stuff off the top there. One thing I'll say is that we did the 2 games this morning, or saw the 2 games this morning. And all of the teams that are moving on to the medal games now, they reach this almost Zen-like state. Where the communication is so calm, they're not yelling at each other, the rock's coming down the ice, and it's just so smooth and easy. And today, even Bruce Mowat overswept a really, really key stone, and it was still so calm. And I don't think Canada, for all of its effort, ever reached that Zen-like state where it came easily. And perhaps that's to the point you pointed out earlier, where they just found out a month ago. So anyway, the big takeaways from me, it's a game. I don't think if you're a curling fan and you watch that, you'll never, ever, ever forget it. And I'll never forget that sound John Morris made. I'll never forget it.
Wow.
From the depths of his soul. And to speak to that point of Norway, talking to Kristen after the game, who made a sensational draw for the win, she said, well, I'm on autopilot with those draws. And he knows exactly how to sweep those draws, and there is a calmness in a huge moment in their curling life.
Well, when she had a chance to make that, she was like Usain Bolt. She was down to the other, just flying down. She wanted that draw. That's what she wanted. They planned for it, and she wanted to be there in that spot at that time. So it's going to be a really, really good final. It's the story of the kids, 22 and 26 years old, against the slightly older married couple with the history from 4 years ago. So gold medal game is going to be really good.
Awesome. Mike, thoughts? Colleen, let us have it right off the top.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, my takeaway from it is, after watching, again, Rachel and John are the most talented athletes in the country. I don't think anyone would dispute that. What was missing was the calmness, the way, not what the players were saying, the way they were saying it to each other. There was no, how often do we hear hard, whoa, 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 straight, like from our sweepers and from Rachel and John. Just, there was always a sense of a little bit of panic to get by guards, and there was none of that from Italy. There was none of that from Norway. There was none of that from Great Britain. How's the weight? It's 8 feet faster here. It's 4 feet slower here. It's 2 feet quicker here. None of that from anybody. That was my takeaway. So all of these teams, let's play the draw. Like you said, Skazlian could not wait to throw that draw to the button because she's dialed in on draw weight. Stefania Constantini, 22 years old, the freeze she made against, that measure, like, she absolutely locked it on perfect. So there's just this sense of calm from the teams that I'm seeing against our Canadian reps that we were missing. And I think a lot of it has to do with exactly what you said, Colleen, the lack of prep time. Even had they won the trials in December, after Christmas, this is after New Year's, actually, would have been about 6 weeks. Can you make up all for 4 years of work that Norway put in? That's the question. So I think Curling Canada, the first thing, they have to change the dates of both trials. I mean, we're not even going to get into men's and women's yet, but they need to make it where the teams have time to prepare so that when they go there, they're ready. You're going to be ready. And even for John and I think in Pyeongchang, when John and Caitlin were there, like I said, most of the top countries weren't sending their best curlers. So they were kind of their own worst enemy in that case, where all of a sudden, Oscar Eriksson's playing for Sweden. All of a sudden we've got all 4 men in the playoffs, and Jennifer Dodds are playing both. So how about there's the other argument. So what's wrong with playing both? All these countries are sending their very best players. So we're going to have 3 men and potentially Jen Dodds who have a chance to win 2 Olympic medals here in Beijing. That's another conversation again, but the biggest thing is the prep that these other countries had that we did not, as when I say the Royal We, Team Canada didn't have.
Joanne, you wanted to talk today about your relationship with your skipper and that heartbreaking scene that played out, and one of your own losses in mixed doubles, and Colleen, of course, was there.
Yeah, you know what they didn't include in my orientation to the booth is how do you call a do or die game for your teammate and friend of 8 years? That was hard. And it was just such a gut-wrenching way to have that game go. There we are. That's my year 1. Got that thick headband. I phased that out when I turned 30. Look at us, little spring chickens. I think we look pretty good 8 years later.
Right.
It was just, you could see it, and Mike spoke to that, the intensity, the just that they were gripping it a little tight, and they were trying so hard and just leaving all of it out there. And as an athlete in that moment, you can't think about what's on the line. You can't think about the pressure. You can't think about your family or the fans or the outcome. They're putting everything into every shot. You could hear John sweeping, just the sounds coming out of him. He was trying so hard. And the moment that they knew that rock had gone an eighth of an inch too far, you just know that everything comes crashing down on you. And it is just like the most, like, it's an emotional assault, because you go into, honestly, it's like a shock state. And we went through that in Pyeongchang in 2018 when we lost to Great Britain in our second last round robin game. You're in it. You're never going to give up. You're never going to quit. Never say die. But the second that game is over and you shake hands, it's just, it's unlike anything else. You go into this state of just numbness, and your whole body reacts. Like, the pit in my stomach is still there today for them. And I wasn't on the ice. So, I mean, we saw that in your interview, Colleen. You could see that despair with them. And I just feel so much for both. And I think it just speaks to the fact that kindness and empathy for Canadian curling fans is so important right now, to really just send out love and support. They'll be able to criticize their performance. Curling Canada will look at the process. We will have all of those stones will get turned, but for right now, it's a matter for them surviving and putting one foot in front of the other and just kind of getting through this emotional part and hopefully getting home soon to their families. I mean, they put everything on hold for us. They dropped everything, did not want to get a COVID positive test. They've isolated, they've been living and breathing all of this. And now all of a sudden it's all done. And that letdown is just going to be crazy for them. So to that note, I mean, I've experienced that in mixed doubles myself, obviously not on the big stage like the Olympics, but out of nowhere, I ended up in a world championship final with Reed Carruthers in 2017. And Mike and Bruce so kindly like to bring that up on air. Had great control in that game. We were up 3 coming home without the hammer. And after the second time they brought that up, I sent them a photo of Colleen and I from after that game, because as we all know, Canada has not won the gold medal in the world mixed doubles. We had a great opportunity that game. There we are. And I just, after that game, again, that sense of just that crushing defeat. And I didn't know Colleen very well at the time. And we maybe said hello at the opening banquet, but she came over to me and she said, I don't remember what she said. I was trying to take it in, but that act of just empathy and love, it means so much in those moments. And if you see in the picture, there's Colleen with this look on her face of true just emotion, and you kind of catch a funny look from Jeff Stout, and he's looking over like, oh, what's going on here? But I mean, there's a lesson to fans out there, like, you want to be Colleen Jones in this picture, you don't want to be Jeff Stoughton, okay? It's a lot moving forward. Like, our curlers are going to be fine. I mean, and Jeff was super supportive. It's just funny how you catch a little side eye there. But Colleen Jones doing the right thing. Let's try not to be Jeff Stoughton here. Let's support our athletes. I'm so proud of them. And I hope that they can get home to their families quickly and can start kind of that recovery process, because it's a trauma. And the Olympics are amazing, and you want to remember the good stuff, but they just grinded it out the whole week. And I mean, it was great to watch and very amazing curling. And we've got great curling coming up too. So I'm going to get ready to pivot here, and I'm going to get that, gut feeling.
Yeah. Actually, you look great.
And I'm ready for tonight, you guys.
I thought it was like the football players wear the dark stuff under their eyes, just getting ready for a big match under the lights.
Mike, I've got a gold one. I believe it's more brightening. This one's more like to wake up, and then there's a black one, charcoal, more of a detox. So I'll show you the options.
Joanne, how important is it that the trials get moved so that a Team Canada can prep? Because even for you and Reed that year, you were kind of won the Canadian at the Worlds, a new team, relatively inexperienced. So
I drove home from that final from Saskatoon. The next day I flew to Toronto to play in the Players' Championship. From there we flew to Calgary, had 2-day training camp, and then went to the World Championship. Had to come in the top 8 to qualify Canada for the Olympics. Like, it's just it's disrespectful to the other teams there to assume you can just show up and perform. And what we're seeing is just an insanely high quality of play in mixed doubles. I talk about it on air all the time. It's such a hard discipline, and these guys are making it look easy out there. And to Mike's comment, the calmness, they've played in so many games. They're aware of what they have to do to win and how they manage their shots. And I couldn't believe it. Bruce Mount and Vicky Dodds. Jen Dodds. I'm still waking up here. Like, Jen with a miss on her first, okay, whoops. And then Jen with another misplaced stone on her last. Bruce kind of overswept it. And the reaction was actually just quick, okay, well, whoops. And I think that just speaks a little bit to the fact that mixed doubles is tough, and sometimes it's not going to go your way. And they kind of just respect that about it. And you're seeing that from all the teams in the competition.
Yeah, I just ran out to get these important pieces of paper because it's the stats from yesterday's semifinals game. And they're so high. And we all know how hard it is to score high in mixed doubles. To be the only one that wasn't was down was Team Sweden, who was pounded by Italy. And Italy, what I love about listening to their call in the allez, like it's like a sing-songy opera. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's just like not panicked and not screechy, and they're calm. It's a lovely story. And listen, you guys, I was almost crying for Italy after they won, because this, let's not forget, is their first medal ever in curling at the Olympic Games. When they came off, and so now they've got gold or silver for them. So this is huge. It's huge for both countries. It's especially big for Italy. And I'm so proud of them because I know Mike and Joanne, you probably curled there. It's a small curling country and they support and love each other. But they got off and went in front of this big screen downstairs before you go into the mix zone, which is where I run downstairs always late to do those interviews. Their families were on those screens. And you look at the shot and the families are crying. And it's like an Earl Morris party, but in Italian. And they're all speaking Italian. And then Amos and Stefania are both crying after they've been this composure of, every time they come out, they're like, this is no big deal. Here we are. We're just here to play. This is a team that has not got too high and never get too low. Well, they're perfect. How could you ever get too low?
Right.
They don't know low yet.
We got to keep it going, guys, because we're talking to the three consecutive Scottish champ coming up. She just landed in Winnipeg, so we're going to catch Kerri Einarson. But
have a great call.
Appreciate your thoughts. You've got the bronze at 1 a.m., gold
1 a.m.
at 7. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right.
Yeah. And Joanne, I'll take some of those moisture pads there, the eye gels.
Probably just have to quarantine them for 14 days, and I can send them to you, Colleen. Okay.
They're going cheap.
Mike and I are wondering, do you have anything that makes your head look smaller? Can you find something for Mike and I?
You two look fabulous. That's because you two have all the brain power.
All right. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
See you guys later.
Thanks, guys.
Tomorrow. It's later today for me. I get this time zone difference. So confused. Really confused.
From the Olympics, of course, at the same time, the Scotties Championship was playing out. Northern Ontario versus the two-time defending Scotties champions, and they did it again. Kerri Einarson and company winning their third consecutive Scotties call. You've done it. Only 4 teams in the history of the Women's National Championship have done it. Elite company. And now Kerri Einarson joins us on that curling show. We're going to bring her in right now. And
awesome. This is true. It's so terrific. Kerri, I had just sent her an email last night as we get her. She's in the dark. You see, it's pitch black. No, she was probably saying, is she in a car? You're in a car driving? Oh, you're on mute.
And she's muted.
You're muted. Anyhow,
there we go. Hi.
Whoa! And it's dark. You look great. You look like a 3-time Scotties champ, girlfriend. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's a good thing it's dark. I look pretty tired.
Well, you could borrow Joanne Courtney's under the eye bag removers, but I'm sure you don't have any bags. What did this mean to you, Kerri?
What's that?
What did this mean to you to win it again? How special is this one?
Oh, it meant so much to me. It's hard to win the Scotties once, and to do it again for a third time is pretty darn special. And this time we had some fans there, so we felt the love and support.
Outstanding. Why don't we take a look at some of the highlights from it and then get right back to you, Kerri.
And now, as the crowd responds, she's going to get a second chance, needing a good half stone in the fourth. They need that 4-foot. They need the 4. You got a second chance. Make the most of it. Canada, say hello to your new champions from Manitoba. A little bit of guess on the weight here. It has to stop. It has to be the shot rock. It has to be the shot rock. And it will go too far, and it will be a second straight Canadian championship for Kerri Einarson. And here, run it back, kick it sideways, no! And it'll be 1, 2, 3 straight Canadian championships, Kerri Einarson. 3 in a row.
Oh, that's so awesome. And aren't you lucky to have had fans? I didn't, being here at this little massive event in the world, we kind of lost track of the Scotties. But I didn't know you were allowed to have fans. That's so awesome.
Yeah, they weren't allowing fans till about Friday. The volunteers and then a lot of Northern Ontario fans came too. And also my parents came, and so did Shannon's, and Val's mom flew in. And actually, she had just gotten home from Mexico, so she quickly shot over. It was pretty awesome, and Brianne's family came. So, yeah, it was really special to be able to share that moment. My husband, my girls weren't able to come, but they're with me now. Say hi.
Oh, hi, girls. Where are they? It's hi. How proud are you? How proud, girls, are you of Mom?
How proud are you of Mom? Say louder.
Very excellent. So you're driving back to Gimli. Listen, I just want to tell you that Hans is right there. Can you see him? Let me just go. Fellow Gimli.
Oh, there's Hans.
Rich. He is out there working his magic here 24/7. You know, they're going to have practice here later on. So you finally get to go to those Worlds in Northern British Columbia. You, the 3-time champion during the COVID era, it's been the strangest time, but what does that mean to be able to return there to the scene of where you thought you were going to play your Worlds a couple of years ago, only to be denied?
To be able to go back to Prince George and where we were supposed to start it all is pretty special. When we found out it was there, we said to each other, let's go out and win this thing again. So we worked extremely hard after the trials. We were very disappointed. And we had a lot of good practices with Reed before we left. Yes, we couldn't practice with Val, but we've always kept in touch with her and always kept her in the loop what we were working on. So it was it's just an unbelievable feeling, and I just get goosebumps talking about it. I'm so excited.
Well, Kerri, you never know what road you're supposed to be traveling. Right now, you're traveling on a road to Gimli, but I know when I saw you underneath after your disappointment of not winning the Olympic trials, and I said, now you're just going to go win through your 3rd Scotties, and now you're going to, no pressure, go win that Worlds while you're at it. Just do it.
I think so. I think that's our plan. Just go out there and do what we did this week. We just played relaxed and just really enjoyed ourselves and didn't put any pressure to defend our title. We just went out and had fun, and that's when we play our best.
To that point,
learning lesson.
To that point, Kerri, I just wonder about, you did mention about the pivot you guys had to make after the trials. And I wonder what sort of conversations you had to refocus, and you played exceptional. So what kind of conversations were you having as a team to make sure that you came into the Scotties focused and playing your best after the trials?
We just really sat down as a team right after and just said to each other, we just need to go out and have fun. Don't put pressure on ourselves. We don't need that. And we're still Team Einarson. So bringing Reed on board really kept things light. He's an awesome coach, and we were so glad to have him on board. And we played board games after game, marbles and card games, and even just had a drink once in a while. And usually we don't do that. Just after a good win, we just would have it, or even a loss, and just one drink and then bedtime, and just shared some funny stories and just really kept it light, and that was our key to our success.
Yeah, a curler not drinking. But even the great Max Perot, after he won the gold the other day, he said, I'm going to have a beer tonight, right? I mean, you got some downtime, and you don't. We used to always listen to James Taylor, and the great lyrics of his song were try not to try too hard, because sometimes the harder you try, the more you get. And it was our mantra of try not to try too hard. Enjoy it. It's just a game. Enjoy the ride. Kerri, we're so proud of you. We're so proud of you. Good for you.
Thank you so much. I am just over the moon, and I can't wait to just take this week to let it all sink in and go through all my rest of my text messages and emails, and my phone's blowing up. It's crazy.
Yeah. I sent you an email somewhere, you don't have to respond, but just know, so proud. Love ya. Love you girls too. Thank you, hubby, for driving so well. My gosh, it's dark, and what the heck time is it there?
Bye.
middle of the night.
Bye, Kerri. Thank you. Travel safe and good luck. Good luck.
The greatest curler in Canada, the greatest ice maker in the world out there, Hans Withridge. Gimli, Manitoba, proud.
What is in the water in Gimli, Manitoba, Call?
I'd move there. I'd move there in a heartbeat. That's what I would do. So happy for Kerri and the team. They were so devastated by their Olympic trials. And there are many paths to success, many paths on this curling journey, and you never know what one you're supposed to be on. Sometimes I feel like the universe just guides you in the direction you need to be.
A lot of lessons to be learned, isn't there? Of course, we've got the 2 remaining mixed doubles games, the bronze and then the gold. And then, of course, we shift things entirely as we look forward to the 4-person event. Jennifer Jones and company, as well as Brad Gushue, and the boys from Newfoundland and Labrador are getting ready to go and call. I can't wait for that. First game, Gushue against Denmark. That's Wednesday at 7 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, we will be setting up all of that.
Yeah, and look at for Sweden, Oscar Eriksson, and for Bruce Motor, Jen Dodds, and also Amos on the Italian team. One of those players could very well be a double medalist at these games, which is pretty outstanding. And I know all of them want it, and you could see that. You could see their Oscar Eriksson's disappointment, and also Jen Dodds and Bruce Mowat for not getting to that gold medal game. You could see that same disappointment that we saw from John and Rachel. They were crestfallen last night, and now they got to pick themselves back up for this moment to play for the bronze. And they were reminded in a couple of interviews that, you know, there's a bronze medal on the line. And that takes a lot to, like, imagine after you think you're going to be playing, you're hoping, you're wishing it's a gold medal game you're in. And then when it's not, you're pretty gutted, as they were last night. So now they've got to recover, get back for that gold medal game.
And perhaps we should also be giving more respect to Italy, that men's team, and how good they are as we look forward to that, because you know, we've been talking about the Brits, we've been talking about the Swedes, we've been talking about these teams.
It's an incredible men's field. It's a mind-blowing men's field. It's a mind-blowing women's field. Both Jennifer Jones and Brad Gushue have got to come and be sharp every single game. And you can't take your eyes off of the ice. The focus has to be laser focused, calm. Earl Morris said it well yesterday. And actually Gushue mentioned this in an interview about when you're thinking clearly. You can kind of, you don't, when your mind is racing, and I've had that experience many times, even doing this show sometimes, when your mind is racing, you're no good. You need to be, you know, one thought, one moment, and not 4 different scenarios all the time, which is sort of the nature of mixed doubles. There's always many, many shots to play. So, but much love and appreciation to John Morris and Rachel Homan. They really did. If when they think back at this, it's not the result they wanted, it's the result they're getting. But they had a really strong, if you look at the statistics, they played very well. And what sometimes in this crazy game, a slippery game played on ice.
Yep.
When you're on the wrong side of the inch, you're on the wrong side of the inch. But this game has been very good to both of them. This is John Morris is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. Rachel has the resume of all those Scotties and a world title, and you know, all of that.
And 2 Olympics.
So much to be proud of.
And 2 Olympics, right? If it were easy, everybody would be at the 5-ring circus.
Well, that's why I'm here. It's easy. I'm just here. Yeah. It is a 5-ring circus. Remember that.
It is. Oh, I'm not forgetting it. Call, we'll do this again, same time, same place tomorrow night as we look forward to the 4-person event. And by that time, we will have a new mixed doubles Olympic champion.
Oh, yeah. So buckle up. It might not be Canada in the final, but it's going to be great, great curling.
Can't wait. Have a great day, Call.
Let's do this again on that curling show.
Awesome.
Thanks everybody for watching, and thanks producer Soph.